was thinking about it in the shower today. It's almost like people are generally, we're all kind of weak, right? We're like
Yeah,
weak-minded.
yeah,
And when you're given complete freedom and complete, everybody's like, I want to be free. But when you're free, you're just like,
yeah,
oh, I'm gonna watch Netflix and eat crisps. And
yeah,
but
yeah,
like,
yeah.
it's hard to. This is why it's easier to somebody say do this, and then it kind of gets you creative.
Yeah, yeah, for
But
sure.
there's another thing I wanted to say about that, that's kind of connected, and maybe you could record because it might be interesting,
We're on, we're
but maybe
live.
not. Oh, we're already recording? Oh shit, can you start recording? I'm feeling a bit uncomfortable.
You shouldn't have brought it up. Now you've fucked it. You fucked everything. You were
Yeah.
just flowing. I was flowing. Now the spotlights are on
No,
us.
no. No, no, it's fine. It's just because you were, all right, never mind. Anyway, so I spoke to a friend of mine on the phone the other day. She's an anthropologist, so she has a definitely a way of looking at the world that's probably different from you and I, for example. But we were both talking about how we're not really happy, right? There's like something missing in our lives. Um, and recently I was thinking, yeah, it's because I'm not a successful trader like I thought I should have been by now. But then again, I remembered that when I like prematurely thought I was after my big trade, I still wasn't happy. I actually felt even worse. I was like, oh my God, this is it. Like, what the fuck? So it's something else, right? And she said she's figured it out. Um, and I think when she said it, I've had these thoughts before, but it resonated a lot. She said, if you think back to, if you have nostalgia about places you were, maybe your childhood or university days or when you lived in the city somewhere, it's never really about the, it's not necessarily about the place or it's not about the surroundings. It's about the people you were with and feeling like you were with a community or you belong somewhere and you were respected and valued and so on, right? And she's claiming that it's an inherent factor in humans because we're social animals, so we want to be in a
Tribal.
tribe.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, and she literally lived with tribes in Africa and learned the local languages and stuff. So she's like really into it. But it's very true. And she also said that yeah, it's obviously not that simple. Some people find the tribe like at work. They enjoy their work, they have good colleagues, and that's it. Other people, it's family. That's why, they marry, have kids, and then that's their tribe. There's different sizes and different characteristics. Some people have maybe Layla is your tribe, one person that you live with. Maybe who knows? Because you seem like quite a like a loner anyway, so maybe one person's enough for you. Other people, they need lots of people. They need a team or whatever. But it put things in perspective. I can't actually remember my conclusion now, but it was something to do with yeah, in connection to what you're saying. I feel like if I had a job in script writing or game development or something, even if I didn't like the game or whatever, just to be able to talk to other people and bounce off each other. Um, there's something powerful in it. And as we know, like we're going to the gym. If you go with a friend, it's easier to stay consistent. So and yeah, basically we should try to be consistent and keep doing this because otherwise
Yeah.
it's a lot harder.
Yeah. And this is like an epiphany I had when I first started. I didn't know why I was so energized and so motivated to work, like, because it wasn't my company. And I was a bit out of
Mm.
practice with working for someone else. And I was thinking, why do I care so much about this? Like, I wasn't just writing what I was told to write. I was like questioning it and talking about it and maybe saying no to something like this isn't the best way to do it. Where I could just do the minimum and still get paid the same. Be frozen.
Mm. I think that, yeah, I have frozen. Yeah, I'll be back.
Are you back? But
Like,
yeah, and I realized it's like you say, it's maybe a tribal thing. It's also like kind of feeling valued. Maybe that's part of the tribal thing. It's just the mechanism that we use. Feeling valued, getting satisfaction, getting dopamine when you achieve something, and help
mm,
people. But you also said about being weak when you're by yourself. That I think that's not necessarily weak. It's just like we take the path of least resistance, and that's like a survival thing. I think
mm,
like again, tribe.
mm,
It's a monkey thing. Like if we were out in the wild, why would we go out and in the cold when it's uncomfortable? We'd stay in our little
yeah.
monkey wherever monkeys live in our tree, and keep. If we had enough food and everything, we was no point going out. So it's that's we're battling that as well, and the two things come together. If you're not in a tribe and you're by yourself and you're relatively comfortable, you don't do anything. It's hard to discipline yourself. But a life hack, I think, for actually getting discipline on your own project is getting investment. That's what I believe. That's what I mentioned before, I think, because it gives you a
Yeah,
responsibility
yeah.
and it's still your own project. But
Well, Jimmy Carr said all this stuff about the tribe thing. He said the same, like, why do people go to music festivals when they can just listen to it at home with the headphones because they want to feel part of the community? And he also said that about, he's like, because the host of Diary of a CEO, he's like, well, you say that just do what you love, but even if you start a business or something, you still have to take calls from clients and stuff. Um,
yeah,
But obviously, it's a bit different. I guess it could be a good hack, but yeah, I've lost my train of thought here.
I watched that
Um,
episode ages ago, but I couldn't really remember it.
yeah. Well, it was really good. He actually uses the word edge a lot, but obviously not in terms of trading. His thing was like, it really resonated. He's like, okay, I realized at some point that you only have one life, and this is it right now, and time is going on, so let's get on with it. And then he was like, uh, yeah, I don't know what's something wrong with my brain today. I latch onto the idea, then I just lose the conclusion. Um, but yeah, anyway, it was really good. It resonated with me a lot.
I remember enjoying
Um,
it, but I can't remember it either.
yeah,
I, I
yeah,
another thing I thought was maybe about joining a prop firm or trying to join a prop firm because
hmm
it's a similar thing, isn't it? Then you're
yeah,
developing yourself as a trader. You're forced to trade, and
hmm
I don't know if what the deal is, what the setup is, if how much you get paid or you don't get paid, or. But I wouldn't, I would almost do it for free, as long maybe just like a I don't know small retainer just to cover, like if I had to relocate to London or whatever, just pay my rent, but nothing else.
Well,
I
that's the
don't.
problem, though. I think a lot of them are either scams or just like overly priced. Because I looked
Yeah,
into it, maybe it's changed. I think a lot of them went bankrupt, a lot of them closed down or whatever. And Futex, the one that Nav was a part of. Um, I think they ended up like uh, running away with the money or something. It was literally like they just ran off with all the traders' capital.
isn't that
So
Axia now? Was that?
I don't know, but I just remember a story that the head of Futex was like under investigation for fraud because he was accused of stealing the money, right? Like it wasn't his. But what I realized about prop firms is, yeah, I thought, okay, I'd like to join, and if I'm not good enough to join, maybe I could just rent a seat. But that's how you actually don't. Not
Oh,
only
you
do you not
pay.
get paid, you
Yeah,
pay them,
yeah,
and you pay like you pay like institutional rates. So you end up getting less on fees, which may be good if you're a scalper or something. But if you're even a direct day trader, but especially swing trader, it's like you're paying like something like like I don't remember. It was like thousands a
yeah,
month just for the desk, you
yeah.
know? So plus your rent in London, so it's just ridiculous. I mean, to do
No,
that when you're not even already a
I don't
successful
know.
trader
Yeah, I mean,
makes no sense.
I don't know. I feel like I could really commit to it. Like I know, feel like I could tell my story about background in poker and poker bots and
Mhm.
how what I've done in the last 4 years, and I'm also a bit of experience can't hurt and
Mhm.
content. It's like shows I'm invested in it. I'm not just want to get rich quick kind of guy. And I'd love to be.
Mhm.
I'd really love that. It would be my dream to be surrounded by traders, be trading, and not worry about paying the bills or anything. Having like all no financial worries because then I could just focus on trading.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
try it. I mean, maybe you can just use whatever track record you've already got. It doesn't have to be the best. You can just say, look, I'm consistently trading. I'm trading a lot. I'm managing risk and I'm not where I want to be. And this is why I want to join a prop firm. Maybe they'll hire you.
yeah, possibility.
And honestly, that was, I was thinking that a lot. Like I wanted to, I looked into, I even went to Futex. I think I
Yeah, you
told you,
told
like
me.
when I
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
was a
You
young
turned up
boy
in
and it
jeans or
was,
something, and they said come back in
yeah. If you
smart.
come back with, yeah, I don't know, maybe he's just taking the piss out of me. But uh, then again, when I had my winning trade recently, that was the first time I'm like, okay, so maybe I can do this, maybe. But again, it's like a part of me was like, okay, maybe this is why I was depressed. Like it was a lot of money and it was a big win, but on the same time, like since I'm a retail trader with limited capital and I'm not like a multimillionaire, it was not really that much money. It was like, I don't know, it was like 2 years salary or something at my current like income, expected income or whatever. So amazing, but not like life change. Like I'm retired now. So I was thinking, okay, if I want to actually all this stress and time, I need investment. I need to take this track record and go to a prop firm and ask them to give me 500,000 or something. But then I realized I'm not ready still, so that's gone out the window. But it does make sense, and maybe you should pursue it.
Yeah.
Right? There's nothing to lose, really.
Part of the reason why I don't want to do it is because my idol, he's never traded anyone else's money, he said. I mean, everyone's different, and it doesn't mean that I shouldn't do what I want to do. But I purely for the kind of like the tribal thing we talked about. That's the main, and to learn off people, to bounce around ideas and things. That's the main benefit. I think. Not necessarily to have a budget or to make, to get paid or anything.
Yeah, no, I thought that too. Of course, yeah, I didn't mention that, but that's obviously the biggest thing. First of all, probably have risk managers that are watching you, which is very helpful. But then at the end of the day, the only thing is it's not like a normal job though. It's not like you're all working on a project together. They're all trading their own
Yeah,
strategies, I think. But it would be nice at the end of the day to maybe they go out together and you can say like, so what were you trading? And you could
yeah.
share war stories.
Just thinking about it now, though, in real time, I'm wondering maybe if it's not all that, like just from what you're saying, and maybe just listening. I must have listened to maybe close to 100 episodes of Chat with Traders. Similar thing, right? I'm absorbing experience and what people's stories. They're being very candid and open about their experiences, and I'm absorbing it already. I think I've already come quite far, and so maybe it wouldn't be that amazing. And it's just I'm trying to just force it.
Yeah. Well, I've thought that too, and I've also thought it may actually have a negative effect because you come in, right, and imagine there's some guy that's a successful scalper, and he might say that, oh no, fuck, just forget that trading hourly candle or whatever your thing is. You need to be scalping, and then suddenly you come in and start trying to trade like him, and you can't hack it, and you've just wasted 6 months. Like you've just done an amateur thing. Who knows? I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if stuff like that happens. And probably in the end, it is more for the social thing. Like, oh yeah, they get together, they go rock climbing or whatever. But in theory, you can just do that on the side on your own. You don't need to join a prop firm to go rock climbing. Right? But then again, I mean, you don't know. Maybe you should try it. Maybe you should just apply, and you might not get anything. But if you do, you could also go and actually try it for 6 months at least.
Yeah, it's really weird trading because. Yeah, you see, whatever, you've been like 15 years, I've been like coming up to 4 years now. But it's not like you're constantly doing stuff. Like, I mean, I don't know, it's weird. Like, a lot of it's waiting. Like, I haven't taken a day trade for maybe it's coming up to a week now. And it's, I don't know, and it just, it keeps, I don't know, before you know it, I don't know, time's going so quickly. It's fucking June already, and before it's June. We're almost halfway through the year, and it's like, where the hell? No, I'm still not making big money from trading. I don't know. It just time just goes by, and you just. Maybe it's because we've got other projects on the go and stuff. Like when I was just focused purely on trading. I don't know. I don't know if you know what I mean.
Well,
it's just.
yeah, kind of. But just on that note about like trading, it's like I wrote it down recently, and I've had this before. Some people are probably different, right? You were saying recently that you feel like somehow better when you're managing the trade and really drilling into the details. But for me, my performance is better the less I look at the charts, because I don't know, yeah, monkey brain, whatever, like compute. If I'm finding as well, if I have like I need my long-term core view, like I want to be long, I want to be short, whatever. and then I set my orders, and then I literally, if I just walk away from the screen, and most of the time I'm tricking myself, I'm giving myself something to do to save myself from myself, and I
Yeah.
perform better. I mean, I'm sure
Yeah.
there are traders out there that perform better when they're like scalping in and out, but for me, I just need to set and walk away but
Mm.
that's great because if that works, that's even better because then I actually get like free time
Yeah,
to
this is
do
where
other
we
stuff
differ.
and
Yeah,
be.
yeah. I know it, on the face of it, yeah, like it's passive almost, passive income. It frees up your time. And I've been doing
Mm,
that. Like mainly, I've becoming a swing trader recently because I've had a lot of other projects
mm,
on the go, and maybe only 2 or 3 days a week I've been day trading, but maybe 2 out of the 3 days I sit there and there's no setup, so I just literally watch the chart for 8 hours and I don't do anything.
mhm,
And okay, I've done a day of trading, but I didn't execute once. And that's what I mean
mm.
about time just flying by, and that happens days on end.
Yeah,
But maybe I just
that's
need.
true.
I'm kind of. I'm not a scalper, but I'm not a swing trader either. I'm kind of like a. Well, I don't know. My average trade is like an hour, so it's still intraday. Sometimes I leave it overnight, but I don't know if I'm. And I don't like swing trading. That's the thing. You say it's even better. It's great. You know, you can be passive income. You can go and do something else. But I don't like that. For me, it's like that's. I want to be like it's like play it like a game, real time, fast decisions in the moment. I don't want to. Otherwise, I just
Mm,
buy the index or buy a stock and collect dividends or
mm,
whatever. It's it's boring. It's not fun. It's not challenging. Maybe it's easier, or maybe not. But and they say about picking a style that suits your personality. I don't think that's my personality. But I'm getting forced into that mode because of other projects, and I don't particularly. I feel like I'm not a trader almost, but I guess I still am.
mm,
Like now, for example, I've told you I was flipped my short long on Bitcoin, which is
mhm,
scary because I'm still short bias. But it's not.
mhm.
We talked about this before. It's not breaking down, and it had every chance to kind of reject that monthly level and carry on, but it's just been hanging around. And there's other things in
Yeah,
play, like the week. Actually, it's a weekly setup, but I wasn't expecting it to play out because of the bearish momentum. But now I'm playing the
yeah,
long, and
yeah. Well, me too, actually, by the way. Like I'm getting that. I wrote it down today. It sounds stupid, but now I'm figuring out like, walking away from the screen kind of thing. It's like a traffic lights. I have like red, which is like no signal, no, nothing. Like just so don't even look because it's just a bad idea. Then I have like now it's amber. Like okay, lower high, higher low, like and then other environmental stuff. But basically the signal is flashing and then I place my orders, and then again I walk away until I get that notification that I've been triggered long and my stop's in. Then, but even then, then it's green. Then I'm in the trade. But then in a way, it's kind of red again because I'm in, my stop's in. Now I just have to leave it. It's either going to hit or
yeah,
it's going to run.
yeah,
And don't fiddle with it.
yeah. What advice would you give to a new trader starting out?
Don't do what I've done.
Yeah,
No,
I all right. I asked you before, like, what would you go back and tell your past self, right? And you said the same thing. Don't become a
yeah.
trader. But I
No,
guess it's the same kind of
yeah.
question. Like,
Did I actually say that?
yeah,
Okay, I
yeah,
hope I
yeah.
was joking.
That was your like joke. Yeah, yeah, that was your joke.
Shit, all right. Okay, well, no, honestly, what I would do is this. I would sit down and do what you said you've been doing when you don't trade. Just watch the charts. Just watch, and choose one asset class and watch the chart every day as much as you can. And then after you've done that for, 3 months, let's say, then you start just trading on demo, like almost randomly, like just like, oh, that looks kind of bullish, buy, and well, where would I put my start? And obviously on the side, you're reading about strategies and reading stories about traders. And then over time, I think you would naturally just you gravitate towards something. You become a breakout trader or a range trade, whatever your thing is. And then you can open up a micro account with $500 or something and start trading this strategy you have and then really tracking stuff. So before you were just like throwing paint on the wall, but now you're like trading a strategy. And but it's still a bit random because you still don't know, and then maybe one day be like, oh, that doesn't seem so wrong. I think you can switch things up a lot in the beginning because you're exploring, and then when you find, then you basically just come in and ticking off the shit that doesn't work, that doesn't seem to work either for you or doesn't seem to work like objectively, and then you come up with a core strategy that in a way you forward tested, and then you like load up a real a normal size account with money that you can afford to lose, obviously, and try to trade that consistently. So it's basically like 3-step process, like random demo trading, exploring, then like forward testing on a small account, trying to get some consistency and removing what doesn't work, and then finally just trading that, and maybe over the long term you can change it, adjust it.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's all good stuff. And I'm just thinking about this now. I almost think I would start with like a checklist almost. Like, are you in a good financial state? Like all the things that I've struggled with. Like like you not even forget trading, forget even looking at a chart or learning what a double top is or whatever. Just what's your current life situation? Do you have kids? Are you married? Kids again? Are you married? Are you got dependencies? What's your debt? Can you afford? Because you're not going to make any money for a while. You know, even if you're the very best at a prop firm with professionals around you, it takes them at least 2 years, I'd say, to get consistent.
Yeah.
So you need some kind of runway in your life. And if you don't have that, or a part-time job maybe, and if you don't have that, or if you're like somehow kind of forcing it, it's not going to work if you're forcing it. Or what's your temperament like? Are you kind of an angry person, or are you a very patient person naturally? Because that will help you. Like, yeah, lots of things about just you before you even learn anything about trading, I think. And I think it's more important. And that's what I'm starting to learn. And then we've already been through all the kind of fact that the strategy isn't that big of a deal. There's lots of different strategies to pick, but you need to almost position yourself in it, you know, in life, and be consistent in other areas. Yeah, I think that's that's what I'm. Yeah.
Yeah, it does make sense. Like if we're being realistic, you know, it's a very low success rate. So I think it makes sense to have like a stop loss on your trading career, which I feel like I've not used
You're
a
blowing
stop
it.
loss.
Yeah, me
So
neither.
I'm like,
I don't know. I mean, this is a good point actually. Like, when do you give up? This wasn't one of my questions I prepared, but when do you call it quits as a trader? How do you know?
exactly. Some people are just not gonna make it, right? I mean, it's not that
80%?
most people are not
Yeah.
gonna make it. Yeah, well, I mean, I don't really know where those numbers come from, but because
I've
I
read a
don't think that's
report.
genuine. Yeah, but what I mean is like a lot of that is like somebody's opened up a Forex account with $2,000 and they've traded for a few months and they lost it. But they weren't really trying, they weren't going for a career. They were just like, oh, can I make some money? And you know, in a way, it's not shit. It's not the same. It would be nice to know how many people like spend like a decade and like go to a prop firm and all that shit. How many percent of those fail? That would be more accurate, I think.
But yeah,
More
that comes
interesting.
to it though, that when you probably once you get past like 2-3 years, you probably just become a lifer. If you love it and you want to do it, you can become maybe you just become a perpetual loser. You never you never say, right, that's it, I'm never doing this again. But at the same time, you never make millions either. So you're
Right,
kind of
yeah.
caught in no man's land. A lot. That's like us. Maybe we're just kind of
Well, yeah,
washing
that's really
around
freaking
and
me out.
yeah.
That's why I really want to, and obviously the best of if I'm finding out like objectively, I can say that stepping away from the screens actually increases my performance and it gives me the opportunity to like finish my script or have a part-time job in gaming and then still keep my possibilities open. That's very liberating because otherwise I don't want to like be like a day trader glued to the screen and give my life away, you know. Um, and maybe, you know, all these skills can be transferable in some way. Like I don't want to just say I've wasted all my time. Um, And also, again, Jimmy Carr said it in the podcast. You've got to find your edge, find what you're good at, and what you obviously what you enjoy doing, but what you can keep doing and work hard at and get better at, like year by year. It's a long-term thing still, but yeah. So because he when he was asked that question, he actually said 2 years. He said if you've not made it as a trader after 2 years, probably you might as well just quit. But I'd never, he didn't expand on that, and I was confused. Maybe I should ask him. Um, does that mean like 2 years, like as a professional? Because I find that hard. 2 years doesn't even sound like enough to really learn skills of trading. Does it mean, is he really saying like 2 years of demo trading, or does he mean like 2 years when after 5 years of demo trading, then you sit down with your capital?
Yeah,
What does it mean?
it's impossible to say because there's so many different variables.
Yeah,
Like it's like saying what's your favorite food almost, because your food, oh, it's a great analogy because it changes. Like, yeah, it's like, is it 2 years studying, 8 hours a day, really trying, or is it 2 years just I'd do it at the weekends, trade a bit of Bitcoin,
yeah,
don't really care.
yeah.
So you can't really just say generalize it like that.
Yeah, it's like language learning then, because people say I've been studying Spanish for 10 years, but like passively, and they can't speak. And then other people study
Yeah,
full
exactly.
time for 2 years and they're fluent. So
Yeah, precisely. Yeah, my granddad passed away when he was 92, and he was still learning French. And I remember when I had a French girlfriend, and he was trying to speak French to her. She said he was pretty good, but nowhere
yeah,
near fluent. But he was maybe about 85 at the time. Like, still can't. So he's been learning French his whole life. So he should have given up after 2 years if he can't do it. Nice. I don't know. There's different scenarios as well, different situations, and your financial situation as well. Like it's the same with poker. You get lifetime losers. You get people that go to the casino just for fun. They've got different goals to everyone else. And maybe there's a lot of gambling traders that don't care about becoming rich. They just like the thrill of it, or something, or they like the.
Well, yeah, I'm sure that's true, but I'm fearful that in my case, I'm not necessarily a gambler, but maybe I have gambling tendencies, right? So because like a monkey brain or whatever, like yeah, if I see flashing lights and I start, but I don't enjoy that. It actually it makes me feel bad, right? So um okay, just on that note, it's not really about trading, but it's kind of interesting. So I have two questions to ask you. I don't know if they would be good shorts, so kind of abstract and a bit long, but it's in this book about willpower. And it's interesting because a lot of the stuff you say, that like the tips and tricks that you use in your life, are in that book, and they've been like scientifically proven apparently. But these two I found interesting. So it's just an exercise. It's like you got to complete this story, but it's not about storytelling. It's about how your brain thinks about things, how your brain frames things.
Okay,
So
I'm excited.
there's a story. Joe is having a cup of coffee in a restaurant. He's thinking of the time to come when, and you have to complete the story in a few sentences. Like what's he thinking about? He's having a cup of coffee in a restaurant, and he's thinking about the time to come when.
The time to come when? What do you mean? The time to come when?
Well, he's gonna go to the bathroom and knock one out.
No, but I'm trying to get my head around that sentence structure. The time to come when.
Okay.
What does that mean?
Well,
the time to come when.
Maybe it's my intonation. Like he's got to do something. I think that's fine. He's having a cup of coffee in the restaurant. He's thinking about what he's got to do next.
Right.
Let's put it like that. So
okay.
What's the story?
So Joe is having his cup of coffee and he's thinking about what he's got to do next. He's thinking about his chores he's got to do at home, but he's also got his long-term life goals that he wants to achieve. He wants to balance that out. He's I don't know. He goes and pays his coffee bill and walks out of the coffee shop. I can go anywhere with this.
Right, yeah. Okay. It's enough. Now, a similar exercise, right? This time about Bill. So Bill wakes up and he begins to think about his future. And what is he thinking about?
Bill wakes up thinking about his future, about all his ambitions, and he thinks about what he hasn't done yet in his life and what he would, when he's lying on his deathbed, what will he regret that he hasn't done? And but he puts it all aside and goes to the pub and has a pint because he's too lazy to actually do anything that puts him in that direction.
Right, yeah, okay. So basically, you fit the prototype of an alcoholic. Well done. Um, no, so let me just read you what it says in the book, right? This was an experiment conducted by psychiatrists among heroin addicts at a treatment center in the US, right? So researchers gave exercises to a control group of adults who were demographically similar to the addicts. So no college degree, annual income of less than $20,000, and so on. So when Joe sat in the coffee shop thinking about what's coming, the time covered is usually about 1 week in the control group. But in the heroin group, it's only 1 hour. So they have more short-term thinking. And when both groups spoke about the future for Bill, who's just woken up in bed and is thinking about the future, the control group mentioned long-term aspirations like doctor's appointments or visit with relatives.
The heroin addicts were more short term again.
Yeah, basically, yeah. The non-addicts think about 4 years, like in the long-term goals, and the heroin addicts so again short-term. So basically, it's about addicts have more short-term mentalities. Same, and then it comes to actually kind of trading stuff, gambling. When drug addicts play games of cards, they prefer risky strategies with big payoffs,
Mm.
even if they could make more money in the long run by settling for a series of smaller payoffs.
Mm.
For example, choice between I mean, now you know the answer, but $375 today or $1,000 a year from now. Addicts are more likely to take quick money. So are alcoholics and smokers.
That's
Yeah,
interesting.
so
That was exactly what we were talking about before, wasn't it?
yeah, exactly. It's a kind of addictive personality that wants the quick payoff. And there was loads of other stuff in the book about if you show and obviously we know this, but it's nice to hear that it was studied. Like if you show a picture of a hot girl, um, and then you show a picture of a fast car, like men are more likely to want to buy that fast car than if they just saw a picture of I don't know, a plant pot that they don't have that like it the sexual drive, the testosterone gives you impulse to make rash, quick, kind of satisfying decisions, but that are not good for the long term.
Mm.
But that being said, there was a part later so that's like you win on this because you're more of a like you want to find and I'm more of like a big payoff guy. I have more of a gambling mentality. Let's put it
You're a
like that.
heroin addict.
However, there was a bit. Could be. But there was a part later which kind of fits me more and is more beneficial for me, I think. So yeah, let me read because I might mix it up if I don't read from the actual book. So it's about high level versus low level thinking. So people were asked to reflect on either why they did something or how they did something. Why questions push the mind to higher levels of thinking and a focus on the future. How questions bring the mind down to low levels and a focus on the present. So usually it basically the conclusion was like how it's usually short-term thinking and why it's a bit more abstract, but it gives it more high-level long-term thinking, which is better for not making impulsive decisions. So in a way, I think that's when we talk about complex systems and stuff, you say, "Oh, I don't see the value," but I honestly believe that there is something there that could be proof of that because it makes you step back a bit, think a bit more high level, and yeah, long term and high level, and maybe some value in that. And then eventually, again, you can start with the why and you can drill down into the practicalities, like your strategy, like why does price move, and then you come up with a practical strategy of how to trade that, which is the how. But I do believe that starting with the why and the high level philosophical abstract stuff could be good.
Yeah, that's really interesting. The why. So just to clarify, So why questions are they make you think high level and more abstract and
long term.
long term. How is more real time, low level details present.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay, that makes sense. But what is execution though? That's low level, present, real time, isn't it?
yeah. But so it goes on to say basically what I paraphrased before. Um, People who thought in more high level terms they had more self-control, and people who thought in more low-level terms had less self-control in the experiments they did. So, but
Okay.
maybe the point is, this is why for me, I'm saying like if I have one view, one long-term view, and I set the order and I walk away, that's like my high level. Like I believe price can arise. And then
Yeah.
I execute with the how is like literally sending, and that takes 5 seconds. So the actual trading, it's like 5 seconds of the day. But the analysis, they're thinking
Yeah.
about risk management, the
But
trading plan, that takes hours.
yeah, I
Maybe,
mean,
and then when you execute with the how, it should take very little time. And as long as you've got the why in the back of your head, you're less likely to make
right.
an impulsive trade.
Yeah, because I am impulsive and I am impatient. I battle with that. I have mechanisms for battling with it. So it does kind of fit me. I'm almost not bothered about the whys, but so you're saying, suggesting if I understand a little bit more about the whys, like if I understood why this this setup works, I would have that in my head. It helps me be a bit more long-term focused and less impulsive to do anything different because the why is still there. And in fact, that is true to an extent because I have my how, I have my setup and I execute based on rules. But I don't what has helped me is not panicking out of the trades because I know the why I'm in the trade is because I've backtested this 100 times and it always does this if this doesn't happen. So it stops me being impulsive almost. I don't know if that's not that abstract. It's just the why is just because I backtested it and I trust it more. Why I'm still in it. I don't know. It's a bit more.
Well, an example for me of a why would be, I remember you said like, you get your signal, you execute the trade, and then you get stopped or you take profit. And then at some point there's no man's land where price is trading and you have no idea what's going to happen until it makes the next leg up or down, right? Similar with me, like while it's like printing these higher lows or whatever, like in between it could do anything. I don't know, like could it go up? I have no idea. And but the problem is sometimes I'm like, but why do I have no idea? Maybe I should force myself to find out, and then I want to trade it. But if I come up with a why, the why might be, well, uh, many people are trading for many different reasons. Somebody's just closed the trade because they have a wedding coming up and they want the money. Somebody's closed the trade because they have a hedge
Yeah.
on that's recorrelating. Like give yourself some whys, and then I can say, okay, yeah, people trade for random reasons, so price is moving randomly. That's the why, and that's how I'm gonna stay out of it. I'm just not gonna. I'm gonna set my order and leave it to be. So it helps.
Mm.
And this was actually in another book about emotional mind mapping in trading. Like you should write down all your beliefs. Or no, you start with like the problem you have, like impulsive trading. Then you step back and you ask yourself, why do I feel that? Um, and then you have to explain to yourself why that's stupid, and then come up with barriers to stop yourself from believing that way, and which leads to the how. And the how is like pressing the button at a stupid time. So, um, yeah.
I think there's something in this. Uh, I like it.
Mhm.
Maybe I mean, there's the cliche: you always have a reason to be trading. Don't just trade like just jump in if it's not your setup or anything. Your setup can be the reason
Yeah.
why.
Yeah.
So and that yeah, and that's key, right? Because we've all just tried to have a little dabble or just get in. But the moment you got in, you think, why the fuck did I do that? Because now I don't know what the hell's going on. because you don't know any whys. You have no reason to be in the trade. There is no why.
Yeah.
So that then you are impulsive, and so I think there's something in it there. And I think I would say that my main why actually is just the higher time frame. Again, it's a
Mhm.
technical thing. It's not like it's not like a real life thing. Like there's some news coming out, or there's interest rates or inflation or anything like that. That would be like a really high level why. Or
Mhm.
you've just heard that Elon Musk is. You've got some inside information on
Mhm.
Elon Musk, and you're just shorting Tesla. That's your why, even though it keeps going against you. You're just confident in that because the news is going to come out tomorrow. That would be a really good why, wouldn't it? It would give you certainty in what you're doing. You wouldn't panic out of it or be
Yeah.
impulsive. So it's almost
No, I
like,
think technicals can be reasonable wise too, because it's supply and demand. It's probably even less abstract because you're saying, I mean, it's less, it's more of a definitive why, because you're saying, yeah, supply and demand, exhaustion of buyers, whatever. That's fine. The point is to maybe give yourself more whys, like, okay, supply and demand, okay, exhaustion of buyers. Why? Why? Because okay, they bought earlier and they're selling now. They're taking profit. Like just listing all the whys, all the possible whys,
yeah,
and probably most of them are incorrect. But it might help you to like settle a little bit.
yeah, you need the whys for the rough times when it's going against you or when you're starting to come offside. You need to refer back to the why you got in this in the first place, and is that still valid? Because if you don't have that, you'll just flip it, and you'll keep flipping, and you'll keep changing your mind. So yeah, and there's something like I said as well, actually, like something like pick your side and stick to it, something like that. Like don't keep flip
Mhm.
flopping around. Like make your decision and not just stick to it until you've proven otherwise. And as long as you've back tested your
Yeah.
invalidation points that you're definitely wrong when you're wrong, then get out and then chill out. But yeah, you gotta yeah always have a why.
Well, I mean, sometimes I'm like, fuck, my trading is just so hard. But other times I'm like, you know what? It's fucking simple. It's just I
Yeah, yeah, me
can't
too.
do it. It's like, look, here's your fucking setup. You back tested it. You've got just. This is why I'm really trying to. Yeah, I just want to. Ideally, I would have an algorithm. I just find I've managed to program my stop loss, which is great because it's automated. But I haven't programmed. Yeah, fuck. I haven't programmed my entry or my re-entry or anything else. That's purely just in case I don't reach the laptop in time, you know. But yeah, I think I'm pretty sure that if I was just trading an algorithm, I'd be like a multimillionaire or whatever, because I have it, but I just can't fucking do it,
Yeah,
you know?
same here. Sometimes it's just easy. Like sometimes just this is when I should size up. I'm waiting for my next opportunity because I'm just going to really fucking size up because I've also we talked about this as well, like not giving a fuck about the money anymore. I really don't care. I'm gonna blow my own a whole account on it. I'd rather do that than just do another trade where I sit there for 8 hours and make $40. Like, oh yeah, it worked
Yeah,
perfectly again. I'd rather just blow my fucking
yeah.
account. So I'm getting so frustrated with it. But I'm ready. I'm in the. I'm listening to Mark Douglas. I'm listening to some Axia Futures guy that ripped his banknotes up. I'm in the right mindset to just pile in some size next time I see it. But, yeah. What do you enjoy most about trading?
Yeah, I tried to think about that. I think the one thing that I really like is the idea that you're coming as close to the truth as possible, but you can never find it. It's kind of beautiful, and the idea that it's an elusive thing, and everybody's looking at the same thing, but everybody sees a totally different picture. But they kind of all kind of fit into different baskets of the same thing. So basically, everybody's seeing it completely uniquely, but nobody's really seeing anything new at the same time. And so if you have a successful trade, in a way, it's like you're saying you were the closest to being right. Like, and you weren't even 100% right because it's impossible to get like to the tick entry, but you were very close to finding reality, as it is.
What
On
a
a chart,
romantic
but
what a romantic answer. Yeah.
Yeah, this is why I shouldn't be trading, but writing instead.
not the like big wins or the Kraken whores. No, on the yachts, just well, we don't have that yet, I guess. That might overtake this concept once you get to that level.
Well, yeah. Well, that's what I said. Reality, crack whores on a yacht.
What what percentage of online trading gurus do you think are profitable?
Like, it's probably less than there are profitable traders. I don't know, 5%. I mean, I'm sure some of them are genuinely trading, and maybe they're good traders, but most of them are scammers. It's just the reality, I believe.
Yeah, I don't know if there's probably different levels to it. There's maybe not necessarily that many hardcore scammers that just
Hmm.
uh, they probably have some. Them could be like us. In fact, they've got a lot of trading knowledge, a lot of
Yeah,
experience, but they're just not breaking through and making a good money off it. So they can
yeah,
talk the talk and they can sell the idea and they understand it all. They
yeah.
just can't do it. So they might.
That's not a scam, in your opinion. I mean, for me, it's just way overvalued, so it's close to a scam. It's like if they said honestly, like, okay, I have a lot of experiences of some trading, but they don't say that. They say I have a trading system and all that shit.
Hmm.
You know?
This leads me to another point. There was a guy on Chat with Traders that made the point of sending his audited results to Adrian, Aaron, Aaron Fairfield, the
Hmm.
interviewer,
Yeah.
before the interview to kind of prove that he's not
Hmm.
bullshitting. And Aaron made this point in the interview. But then when this guy got into his strategy was basically to constantly hedge himself. So he would always be long short on both accounts and have two separate accounts. And he was like a scalper, a future scalper, and every single swing he would try and catch. And when he saw a rotation, he would take like
Ah,
two off of one account, but leave the other account running. So he'd slightly
yeah.
weight it. And of course, you're going to get
So you
one
think he only
account.
sent one
Yeah,
account?
exactly.
Yeah.
You're going to get one account that's massively in profit, and the other one massively not in profit. And maybe the difference is his profit, or maybe it's not. Maybe, but yeah, that's a bit of a scam. Because I thought about that. I listened to it twice actually. The second time I heard the podcast, I listened to it maybe a year ago, and I re-listened to it again recently. Yeah, that's of course you're going to have a fucking profitable account audit record because you're hedging. You hedge. You just pick the account that's not down, not your hedge, but your hedge might be dramatically down. But anyway, I thought that was interesting. It
Yeah.
was an interesting strategy.
Well,
Yeah.
that was something that was done a long time ago, with like, I don't know, baseball or football or basketball results in the US. They would send out
Oh yeah,
like
yeah,
just totally
yeah, yeah,
randomized, like, oh, the I don't know, the Red Sox to win, and then whichever people got that, they would send again
yeah, yeah.
random, and
Halve it,
eventually you'd
halve
end
it.
up with like a
100
hundred
people, like
people
you
that
picked
got
like 10 in
10
a
in a
row.
row.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's quite clever,
So
really.
it's
But
clever. Yeah.
and they'll be like, "Wow, this they really know." And like, I'll buy your system.
And a friend of mine made a good point about that, like, 'cause I was posting my trades on Twitter, and he said, yeah, but your viewpoint changes a lot, which I said, yeah, I'm proud of that because I'm a trader. I can change my viewpoint. But he was saying, yeah, but you could also just like put on hundreds of different viewpoints and then just delete your tweets
Mm.
that didn't work out. And it's a good point because then you don't know who's actually
Yeah.
there's a lot of manipulation that
Well, with
could be
Twitter,
done.
you can see deleted tweets on. There is like records of
Yeah,
it,
I've heard that. Yeah.
but yeah,
But I mean, it's obviously basically it's easy to be misled by statistics. That's
yeah, yeah.
the point.
Even the mainstream media, I I'm like a stickler. I'm like a real pedant when it comes to statistics and the wording of stuff, and sometimes just the way BBC reports stuff, or especially during COVID, there's loads of yeah, like I don't know, I can't think of any examples like where they have to go. They finally got it right. I was like screaming at the TV for months, and then they finally decided to change the statistic to the average deaths above the normal. Like
Mhm.
that was what they needed to look at because they were just saying like, oh, there's 5,000 people died this month, and but how many of those people would have died anyway? And yeah, I don't know. I'm an analytical guy, and there's different ways to say the same information that can make it sound completely different, and it's just bullshit. In Malta, the media is terrible. They don't even they just say, oh, the number of something has doubled in the last year, but that could have been from 1 to 2. It's meaningless. When you actually dig it down, it was something really low volume, so it was really insignificant data. But the headline is, road traffic accidents doubled in the last month. It went from 2 to 4. Like, who gives a fuck? That's just variance. Don't make a big headline over that. So yeah, and I guess the average person just sees like, oh, it's doubled. Shit, getting more dangerous now. But I read into it. I think that it means nothing. Tell me something I don't know. It could have doubled. Anyway, just being anal about it, I guess.
Well, there's a great book about that called How to Lie with Statistics. It's all about all the different tricks and the way you frame, and that's also behavioral finance too. If you give somebody one number and you give the other people another number, and it could happen with trading, I'm sure, like just framing in a different way, and suddenly it looks really bullish to one group and really bearish to another group. I actually realized that recently with you saying about you look at, you find the time frame that fits the volume or however you put it. And so I realized, like, if I actually just casually look at another time frame, it like go from 1 hour to 2 hour, and suddenly it looks, oh, wow, the 1 hour looks bearish, but the 2 hour kind of looks bullish. Like, so am I a bull or like, what the fuck is going on?
That's why focusing the camera is so key. Just changing topic slightly here, because you see a lot of trading education or online courses or whatever. They say, oh, you make sure you get a candle to close through the level. But what candle? What time frame are you talking? It can be a 1 minute candle can close, or an hourly candle, or a daily candle. You can't just, you've got to define how you define the candles, which time frame first, and then say what time frame of candle. And I think it's logical to base it on the size of the consolidation or the current volatility. That makes sense, doesn't it? You wouldn't, yeah.
Well, I've got an issue where I'm using daily candles, right? But the thing is, it depends on the exchange. Like, Deribit does it like at
Deribit's fucked.
Midnight, but a different time zone, and Coinbase does it at midnight, like ET or whatever. So it's like, and it can change the look of the pattern.
Yeah, I use Binance. Use the highest volume. Binance and Coinbase I use.
Yeah. I do. Yeah.
Deribit's just fucked. It's shit all over the place because the volume's so low. Like, probably I could go in there and buy loads and just change the daily candle right at the end of the day. So sometimes I'm in Deribit when you've probably found this. You probably trade bigger size, but I've found I can be I get gradually partially filled over the course. Sometimes a minute's like ding. Okay, that's a little bit ding ding. Still, like I'm acting as a support temporarily for like a minute. Because the volume's so liquidity and volume's so low, and I definitely got that when I was trading shitcoin, not Bitcoin. I'd just leave because when I was burst mining these shitcoins, I'd hold all the reward, the block reward. So I'd have all the new coins, and I'd just be sat there in the book with a thick wall of buy orders or sell orders because I wanted to get rid of all my shit. What's your biggest ever regret in trading?
I think it's not necessarily about trading, it's more about capital management. I think my biggest regret is trying to just think about my account as margin all the time because I'm greedy and I want it to grow. I would have a lot more cash if every time I had a home run, I took 50%, put it in a savings account or something. And try to split the accounts into segregated things. This is what I'm thinking now. I have core life savings, and I have like trading capital, and then I have like margin, which is what I apply when I see a setup and I have conviction. I apply leverage. So having a more long-term and more of a money management approach rather than just trying to trade.
Okay. I don't know what mine is. Um, Maybe just it's an ongoing regret and just being a pussy, just not sizing
Yeah.
up. I don't know, but then again, I've managed to stay in the game comfortably for 4 years and learnt a ton. If I would just sized up like a madman, I may have gone broke
Hmm.
already. But I
Hmm.
don't know. I'm really a fan of trading. It's it transcends into life. It just you learn things in trading that you can use in your life. And I think I don't know if I have any regrets.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's interesting because I mean, if one day I'm just like, okay, it's not working out, I can't be consistent, and I quit, am I gonna regret it? I mean, obviously, I'm gonna feel bad, but on the other hand, like you say, it transcends life in some ways. And I'm also fascinated just with the simple fact that that Alpha Trader book I read, it was like the best trading book I've ever read. It helped me a lot. It led to a big win. I genuinely believe that that helped me lead to a big win. Obviously, I've still got other problems to deal with, but also all the other things I read in the book, like his book recommendations about breath. That was where I found the breathing technique. He recommended it because it was about calming down in the trade. I read it and it like helped my asthma and like, and then like I'm reading about willpower because he mentioned that, and it's like trading. It's more than just trading. It's about, like you say, discipline and perspective. This is why I mentioned the truth aspect, because there's no such thing as one fundamental truth, but in a way, like trading, it's like a kind of game where you have to try and get as close as possible, and the person that does gets to win.
mm,
Like, so it's a really interesting balancing act. Also, it helps you become less egotistical.
yeah.
I mean, it helps you become a massive fucking asshole when you have a big win, and then you lose it all because you're obviously not bigger than the market, and then you're like, oh shit. So, and it like also kind of devalues money. Like the whole, like we said, like the best traders, they don't really need money. And then they're not looking at the money in terms of cash. They're looking at just numbers in a game. So it helps you
It
put
numbs you.
perspective.
Yeah.
I
It,
don't know if that's a good thing, but
but no, it is. It numbs you to all the bullshit, the monkey bullshit, basically. When you it in fact, well, you should. This is a good thing if you are becoming a bit numb to it. Like all the extreme emotions, like the anxieties and fears, you should slowly become a bit more numb to them. And all the kind of
yeah,
wind tilt and euphoria, you should become a bit numb to it. And it just
yeah.
teaches you about all
But
this for the rest of your life as well. Like if someone cuts you up in traffic, you know that that's your fast brain thinking, your monkey brain that wants to fight. Well, I never personally get pissed off with traffic, but some people do apparently.
okay, but the problem is that like training is inducing it. This is the thing. It increases your stress levels. So maybe with time, you become, yeah, you become more, I don't know, disciplined, or you get perspective. But in the beginning, it's actually giving stress, like because you're looking at the chart and your P&L is going up and down. And so in a way, sometimes if I'm staring at the chart and my heart's racing, then I feel like, what am I doing to myself? I'm purposely giving myself this stress. Now that the next level is to be able to detach myself to play. But I mean, to be honest, it's like spiritual almost. Like there's some line from the Bible. I was brought up as a Catholic. I'm not a believer now, but there was like a line where it's like Jesus said, like, you got to be in the world but not of the world, or something like that. Or maybe it was the Buddha. I don't remember. But the point is, like, it's kind of like that. You've got to play the game, but you've got to be not connected and care about the money and so on. So same with everything. Like enjoy your life, and but don't take it too seriously. Don't let your ego get involved and so on.
Yeah, I'm hoping you can almost. I think it should. There should be almost a tipping point where you exponentially grow because go back to this point about what Trader Dante said and about how the best traders they don't need it. They're just comfortable. They've got loads of money and they'll just let the money come to them. And I'm just hoping things will just start to spiral. Like if you, I don't know, maybe it didn't necessarily with you. You have one big trade and then you just can chill out, and then it's almost like you've got that security now, and you can just chill out. Maybe next time it happens, you'll do that.
I've literally recorded myself a voice message like, fuck you, motherfucker. When you get a big win, actually, if I ever get like a big win like that again, I think I'm literally gonna like give myself a reward. Like, okay, you know what? Switch off the screen. I'm not trading now for a few months. I'm gonna do something, but I'm gonna go on a skiing holiday or try something I've always wanted to do. Just to breathe. Because I've realized as well, like I'm staring at the chart. This is why I wrote down what I said, like, and my heart's rate. But if I literally just like walk to the balcony, make a coffee, do just even a small thing, I've forgotten about all that fear. It was like
mm.
I get trapped in that
Yeah,
moment.
yeah, yeah.
But if I literally walk away, just literally walk away, I literally forget immediately what I
Mm.
was feeling. So it's almost like you need to find those little tricks and
Yeah.
trick yourself.
I feel like you'll as a swing trader, you'd develop this numbness slower, wouldn't you? Like because I'm dealing with that more intensely on a scalping, or like sitting in a trade, staring at a trade for sometimes 2-3 hours non-stop, sometimes 4 hours, and I'm getting these emotions, and I'm having to deal with it. More practice dealing with it, basically. But if you're dealing with it by just kind of forgetting about it, walking away, you're never going to actually deal with it. But maybe that's fine. Maybe that's how you deal with it. But I'm
Yeah.
embracing it in a way. I'm like I've talked about this, being mindful of it. Like I'm there, and I can feel the fear and I can feel the emotions, but I'm compartmentalizing them over here, and then just pushing them to one side and thinking, what's the reason you're scared? The whys, talked about that. That's if it's just because you're sized up too big and you're scared of losing, then that's fine. And going through all these like mind games with yourself. But another way to deal with it, if you're a swing trader, like say, is just walk away from it, forget about it. But that's almost like not fixing the problem. But maybe you can
Well, no,
never
I
fix it. I think you
disagree
can.
because, yeah, first of all, you can never fix it. Second of all, I've spent years like staring at the fucking the chart pointlessly almost. Maybe it's been good, but in the end, I don't think so. Another thing from this book about willpower actually says like people that have a lot of goals and that constantly think about their goals actually end up achieving less than people who have like one goal and think about it once, write it down, and then check on it like a few months down the line. So I feel like overthinking and it's not helping, and it's actually harder. I would argue it's harder with swing trading in a way because you've got more time and you've got more time to fuck up, and there's a pressure, especially maybe it's my trading style as well. Like I know that like I need to catch these fat sales. They don't come a lot, and if you miss it, like you've missed it for 3 months, or it could be one a year. Who knows? So it's almost like if you're in the trade and you're watching it and you see it going the other way, and you think, oh shit, what if I got this wrong? What if I like zoom out? Oh my god, what about that? I could maybe I should be short, and I don't want to miss it, even though it's totally pointless. I'm trying to tell myself no because these swing trades take weeks to play out, and the timing element works incredibly well. I can be long, and because I have this momentum setup, and it can be turning, and yeah, I could see something ahead of the curve and get out now, but it's only 0.3%. If I let it turn, it will show me. It will literally print it on the chart, and I will have a signal to get out. There's been cases where like I get long, and it like goes up, and then it's like hanging around break even, and it's turning, and instead of like prematurely getting out because it could still keep running. I have no idea. Then I'm chasing the market. Just let it wait, and it like literally turns around the break-even part. So I like the break-even price. So it literally over days or a
Yeah,
few weeks,
yeah,
it's like it's
gives
a
you a chance.
breathing. It's almost breathing, and I just have to let it go and try to
Something.
be. And
Yeah,
it's the meditation helped with that a lot as well. Like I keep thinking like I need to do this thing now. I need to have the result now. I need to make the trade now. I need to make a decision now. But no, trading is literally about like making, I don't know, a framework of you have decisions. It's kind of like the what we talk about with the algorithms. You have to decide whether to switch the algorithm on or not. You have to decide what elements to put in. You have to decide your risk parameters, what instrument you're going to trade, what size.
Yeah.
But then once you've done all that, you just press on and you walk away and you do nothing. You just execute.
Yeah, it's a bit related to when we talked about the difference between poker and trading, and we were saying basically poker's more structured framework, and trading is like a sandbox game where you can do anything. You've got open creative freedom to pick your own story. You can choose your own story, your own framework, which is kind of fun, but also yeah, it's this is yeah
Incredibly dangerous.
yeah, this is where people get caught in just jumping from one thing to the next because they don't pick a consistent story. They keep jumping from one story to the next story because they think another story is better. It's like if poker had no rules, like, oh, maybe we should change the rules of poker now so we get 7 hole cards and there's only 2 in the middle. Let's try that. No, I don't like that. Let's try, and you keep changing the rules of poker. But that's effectively what you do when you keep adding indicators or changing your strategy. You're changing your framework, and then you never master it. Yeah, I listened to Futures Trader 71. He's really good. I mean, I think he's like engineering background. He kind of thinks like me. He speaks to a lot of. He really resonates with a lot of stuff that I think. He was kind of talking about this. Yeah. Do you think trading is easier when you're single?
No, because it means I watch more porn, and that's quite distracting as well. So
Well,
honestly, I don't even. Is it a serious question?
that's a
Because
shot now. That's a good shot. Good joke.
well, actually, the truth is, I remember when I was in my last kind of long-term relationship, and I did have those alerts like on my phone because I'm a swing trader. So in
What
theory,
porn
I can
alert?
get an
Oh,
alert. I can get an alert like that I got triggered in the middle of the night, and I log on to just check that it got triggered, the stop was set and everything. But like it happened a few times in the middle of the night, and she's like, "What the hell? Like that's too much stress." Like, first of all, I don't want to get disturbed in the middle of the night, but second of all, like what you doing? It's maybe she's right in a way, but like it would affect me because then I'm like, well. I know. I feel like I'm being judged by the
it's
woman
probably
I'm.
it's probably the type of girl though as well. You haven't met the right one yet. Just got to find one like Layla who doesn't give a fuck. Just keep telling her we're going to be rich one day, and she shuts up. We're going to be rich. We're going to be
Yeah.
rich. Just leave me to it. But no, on a serious note, I think it is easier if you're single or if you've got less responsibilities. Like as soon as you get more responsibilities like children or wives, demanding wives, they want to do stuff.
Are you looking to break up with Layla? What's going
No,
on?
Layla's really low maintenance. I think she doesn't
Okay.
demands so much. Or
Oh yeah, she doesn't exist. I forgot.
yeah, so it's easier. If I think it would be impossible to trade if you've got more. It's maybe one of the reasons people fail because they're forcing it too much because they don't have runways. A lot of retired
Well,
people that are kind of more secure have a better chance.
I don't know. I honestly believe. I think there's something like this long-term thinking and stuff like that. I kind of feel like a lot of successful traders, entrepreneurs and stuff, they seem to be very secure in relationships. And if they're married long term, and it's actually probably a good sign that they're able to commit to something and they have long-term visions and prospects. I don't think it's that simple. Maybe it's a characteristic of you as an individual. Obviously,
Maybe
practically it's easier, but
maybe I should ask the question like this: Do you think you can become a successful trader while living a hedonistic lifestyle?
yeah, that's interesting. I'm not sure. Maybe not. Maybe it's impossible because then you have this short-term thinking, like I want to be successful because I want the fast car. I want to impress hot girls. So then you're going to be like, I want a big trade. I want to use leverage. Oh shit, the trade's running away. I'm not going to use a stock because I need to get out and break even. I
Yeah,
think that it's very dangerous.
And also, you got no consistency when you're just partying and you're living life in the fast lane, and your state is changing. You're hungover or you're influenced
Yeah.
by different drugs and different moods and different dramas, and it's changing your emotional state all the time. And yeah, basically you're lacking consistency. It's hard to track.
Yeah,
Everything that you track becomes more of a challenge.
it's some kind of balance though. I don't, excuse me. I don't think it's very healthy to be glued to the screen. I mean, yeah, maybe you're a scalp or whatever, but if you have no social life, no, like probably Nav, yeah, he was successful, but he's a rarity. In reality, that's just crazy. You're going to become sick, mentally sick and physically sick, probably, because apparently loneliness is the biggest killer. Like people who feel lonely are more likely to have physical illness.
I think
So,
that's a
and
scam
what I'm
though.
saying is, why? It's the statistics thing again.
No, not maybe not, but maybe.
So
But they also say people live longer with children when you've had children, but I don't believe that.
yeah,
I think it's just a
um,
ploy to get people to settle down, pay taxes, and be a part of society.
really.
I
I
don't
don't
know.
know if there is an agenda. I think the agenda is to convince people not to have kids because it's a strain on the environment, the political systems, pensions. We need less people. That's why everybody's gay now.
Gay? You say
Yeah,
gay?
are you not gay? Yeah,
Sure, let's be gay. But
but no,
apparently,
I think it
like,
makes sense when you
not being
go back
lonely.
to the tribe thing. Social creatures. Some people, for them, they're like, okay, maybe they don't find anything in work. They don't find any meaning in some passion. So they're like, I'm gonna have a family, and that gives, even though, yeah, physically they're overweight, but it's not that simple. I mean, how many people have you seen that look like
Yeah, yeah,
shit and that
yeah,
smoke and
yeah.
drink
I'm
rum and they live
generalizing.
forever?
I'm generalizing. I'm sure there's
I,
some healthy parents out there, of course.
no, but what I'm saying is, I think it makes sense that, yeah, people say that when you have kids, it gives you meaning, but that's probably because they had no
Yeah.
meaning before, right? So,
Well, yeah.
of course, you're going to live longer if you think this is my one thing in life. I can't die now because then my kid will die too. So I'm going to live longer. And yeah, sacrifice, obviously. I mean, that shows how much they love the kids. The fact that they don't care about how they look anymore, how they feel. They just care about providing for their kids. Um,
Well, it's just like a
it's
physiology. You just have less sleep, don't you? And you just have less time to do anything, I think. I don't know. Maybe it depends on
mm,
the situation. Like maybe it's people
yeah.
that are living above their means as well, and not affording.
Well,
Because I,
the
yeah,
scary thing is you can't. I mean, you never know. But the thing is, once you have a kid, you can't be like, you know what, fuck this. I saw a meme the other day. It was like a boyfriend and girlfriend were speaking, and the guy's like, you know what? I want to be honest with you. I don't think I want kids. And she's like, yeah, you know what, me neither. And then they walk in the other room and they're like, kids, we've got to have a conversation. I don't know. I've been thinking like my parents are getting older. They're not that well, and I do fear the day that when they die. I don't know why. I'm like, I guess I'm pretty close with them, but it is something in the back of my mind that's a bit like, okay, when they die, I don't know how I'm definitely gonna be pained, and it's gonna be hard to deal with. Sure, I know that. Even if they piss me off, and like still losing your parents, it does feel a bit like you're losing some part of yourself. Um, but
you have
maybe I'm
brothers and
just
sisters.
over. I have a half sister, so it's kind of
You're
we're
close
we're
with her.
we kind of we're not that close. Well, we used to be, and then we fell out, and now we're kind of talking again, but we're not very close, really. We're on good terms, but we're not very close. Um, but yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's me getting older or whatever, but it's interesting because it's also all the stuff, all the fear stuff also gives you these liberating feelings. Like if we knew exactly what was going to happen tomorrow and there was no risk and everything was predetermined, it would be fucking boring, right? But along with that comes with fear, risk. This is why trading is so fascinating because there's no barrier to entry. You can in theory, you don't really need that much capital or equipment. You just need, a bit of money and a laptop and an internet connection. But with all that power comes responsibility. There's so many ways to do it, and you can press the button at any time, and you can blow up, and there's no backstop. It's in many ways it's easier just to have a job and a pension plan and all that shit. So it's interesting. Maybe, yeah, it depends because when you're younger as well, there's a benefit that you have more drive and you have more energy. You can handle the stress, but you're also more impulsive. So you're kind of more emotional. So now that I'm getting older, it's like maybe I can become a better trader because I'm more stoic and relaxed. But at the same time, I can't handle the stress as well because I'm older. And does that make sense? It's like, um,
I think you can, I think everything gets better when you get older, basically. Apart
yeah,
from maybe, but drive, but that comes from naivety mainly. You're young. Just
yeah, true.
young youth. Was it the young is wasted? The youth is wasted on the young. What is it?
Yeah, I think that youth is wasted on the young.
Yeah, I'm just every year, every 5 years, I just feel like I'm developing as a person so much, and how much of a dick I must have been when I was in 18, like from 18 to 30. I
Oh,
don't know. I was just clueless about so many things.
yeah,
I'm still am as well, but I feel like I've made progress, and therefore extrapolate that into the future. I can. I just feel like getting wiser and more emotionally secure, more emotionally aware, more experienced in everything in life, in communication, in social, in skills as well, practical skills in every dimension. The only thing
yeah,
that's decaying, obviously, is maybe a bit of fitness. I'm starting to feel that, like recovery times and things are slower. And if I get up at 7 a.m., when 6 p.m. comes around, I'm starting to feel a bit slow. I'm starting to kind of, I don't have as much stamina, maybe. So that's that's the only downside that you can't change, obviously, because we're all dying. Our cells are aging and becoming less efficient, but our skills and everything is just. I think it's a good thing. I like getting older, and you appreciate. They say you appreciate different things in life, but the finer things in life, like, but you're just more aware of stuff. Like I remember going traveling when I was 21 around South America. We stayed in hostels for 6 months. On At the time, it was great fun. It was a laugh. We were getting wasted, meeting loads of people, partying. But when I recently, as recent as 5 years ago, went to stay in a hostel. It's just horrible. Like the mattresses are so uncomfortable. You're in a room with 8 other people. There was actually a
yeah,
guy wanking in my dorm. It was
yeah.
like fucking horrible. And I was
I,
like, "Why? How did I do this for 6 months? This was just 2 nights." And it was like, and you don't. Maybe you just didn't. Was I just dumb? Did I not just see this? You get like you see things clearer now. I don't know. I do, and you can just. I'm a different
yeah, it's
person.
true. I feel like I'm still on the precipice though, because like I'm still kind of still a little bit young and childish, and there's part of me that's like, oh yeah, I want to go to the music festival and party. Because
Yeah, I
actually,
still do.
I
Yeah.
didn't really, and then I went out and like saw somebody, a yoga teacher I know, and because I went to her class in the morning, and she's like, "Oh, my husband is playing at this restaurant. I always wanted to check it out." So then I just had a beer and like listened to this guitar music and sat outside, and it was super chill. And then I realized this is actually way more fun for me now. I'd rather have a conversation in a quiet place and have
Mm.
a quiet drink and listen to some nice music rather than like, "Wah," you
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
Uh,
That's one of the first things that goes. I think that went 10 years ago, going to nightclubs and things. So and that like recently I went with my mate. It was just what am I doing here? Like everybody was under 20. They're like really young in
yeah,
Malta. I think it's like from 16 to 20. We went to like a more upper class joint to begin with, and there was more people like 30s. But then yeah, it was just a mess. It was just like people like barging through the crowds and people spilling beer on you, and you had to be drunk. You couldn't communicate. The music was just so loud. My ears were not working. And in the morning, I had a sore throat from shouting. Just cigarettes, put out on me as I'm walking past people. Stinks of cigarettes. It's just you do it because you want to get laid, right? You do it because you're out on the pull. That's the only reason. Why would you put yourself through that trauma, that horrible environment? It's just to get laid. If you've got someone and you don't want to get laid, no point putting yourself
Yeah.
through that. There's not even any room
And
to
to be
dance or anything.
honest, in my experience, I mean, I haven't had that many one night stands, but they've not been that great anyway. Like, it's probably better to meet somebody that you have a
Yeah.
connection with. If
Well,
you can't
exactly.
fucking hear what they're
Yeah,
saying,
yeah,
then I mean,
exactly.
if you want physic, just fit, then why you might as well go with a prostitute. It's cheaper. You get to pick the tits, and you just pay whatever the local price is.
It's absolutely fucked up. I remember times where you just go up to girls, and just get off with them on the dance floor before you even say hello or anything. Like, that was a thing, right? Isn't it? You just go and pull. You just go and start dancing with someone, and then just start kissing. And you don't even know them, or I'm just getting older
Yeah.
now, but it's like that's
Yeah.
sick. I mean, yeah, sure, it's still maybe could be fun, but you'd at least say hello. Like, how's it? You want to have a conversation to see if there's like any chemistry or any attraction or anything. But it's weird. So when you're like a kid, you're just driven by getting laid, and that's your primary goal. And that's why you drink. That's why to embrace the social situation more. You get drunk, and that's why you go to loud nightclubs to dance next to girls. And that's why you hang out with like mates who are probably not really anything in common, but you just like getting wasted and getting girls together. So then you just slowly grow out of that, and you just like. But I'm like you. I still like it. I still like having a blowout now and then, but maybe just not in a nightclub. I don't know. Maybe in, like, say, something where you can at least have a conversation, have a bit, they can
Okay.
at least hear
So
each
what's your
other.
definition of a good night? What would be a good night for you? Like at this point?
Well, just it's mainly the company you're with. Like, all my closest, best friends that I really get on with. Just maybe start with a, all day session. So wake up in the morning, maybe in the afternoon, have a game of poker, play poker all day, drinking, just chatting, and then just maybe go to a few bars, see what the atmosphere is like, and just places where you can communicate. Maybe go to like beach parties. Kind of hear yourself. So beach
Hmm.
parties, swimming, boat parties are good. Um, not just basically not huge crowds, swarms and crowds of people. I want to be comfortable. Maybe even just like I
Yeah.
like coffee shops because they got nice sofas where you can just sit down comfortable, isn't it? You can just chill. I don't like where you're not comfortable. But yeah,
Yeah, yeah, it's definitely an age thing. I noticed that the first time I kind of consciously realized it was like I used to, well, I did a lot of like budget traveling, like backpacking around, Europe. So I'd go with Ryanair, like really awkward times, and I'd go to the airport and I'd make sure to pack my own snacks so that I wouldn't have to overpay in the air. But now I'm older, I know like I'm happily paying for like, okay, I'm gonna get the flight in the afternoon and I'm gonna go and I know I'm overpaying, but whatever, I'm gonna get a sandwich and a coffee at the airport while I'm waiting for the flight. And yeah, it's about comfort. It is, but it's hard for me. I'm still looking for that balance between, like now I'm in a super remote place, tried it, but it's like too remote. But on the other hand, I kind of do feel that I don't want to be in the city. Like, in London, I think there's so many great pubs and stuff, but they're so packed. It's like, it's horrible. You don't even want to go there. And it's funny you mentioned coffee shops because I've also started. I used to think coffee shops were the most stupid fucking thing ever, but now, like, definition of a grandpa, I like, oh yeah, go and get a cappuccino and sit there and listen to the vinyl record, and like, it's so relaxing.
yeah. Oh, it can be good. I miss the Thai coffee shops. They were amazing. Really, really good coffee and really comfortable, and kind of quite chill music. Used to work from them, but yeah,
The
it's
local coffee shop here, it has hammocks on the beach. I haven't been for a while, but that's super relaxing. You order your coffee and you literally lying on a hammock, cool sea
lovely.
breezes coming in.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I think like activities are cool. Like never used to be in, well, maybe, but like if you're doing something rather than just drinking, like if you're drinking while playing poker, or even if you like going pitch and putt, like a little golf course, and
mhm,
having a few beers
mhm.
on, just doing something where we got some activity, and conversation. But I like something
But
competitive as well. That's kind of fun. I like.
yeah,
Yeah,
I've realized I miss playing football recently. Like in Minsk, I was playing for this diplomatic team, and it was really exciting. And Jimmy Carr said that that was a thing he said. It was interesting. You've got to find the thing that puts you in a flow state, whatever it is, right? If you can make that into your job, then you've made it. But for most people, it's just hobbies, and a lot of people, it's sport. So I realized that recently I want to do more sport and nature stuff. Like I'm looking right now, maybe in a few weeks I'll go to the mainland and I want to like rent a mountain bike and go biking through the jungle or something, like just something where you're in nature, you're moving and you have like a route and a path. It brings you back down to reality
yeah.
and it,
Hiking, good.
yeah, hiking, yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
I might go swimming today in the secret beach. That's the first step. But yeah. So basically,
Ish.
the conclusion is we're getting old. So end of podcast.